Hey everybody, it's Richard Allen here from InsideDirtRacing.com. Hoping everybody had a great Thanksgiving over this past Thursday. Hope you got your belly full. Hope you had a lot to be thankful for. I know that I certainly have, and I hope you feel the same way. I thought I'd take a little time to talk about some of the silly season stuff that's been going on here lately. There were a lot of questions. I think a lot of people thought that right after the World Finals, the final World of Outlaws late model series race, that we would start getting a lot of news about some moves that would be made for everybody to get set up for 2019. And that news didn't just come pouring out, I think, at the pace that everybody thought it would. So now, in the last few days, the news has certainly been in full cycle. So just to get you caught up, if you haven't heard it so far, Mike Marlar, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series champion in 2018, has just recently announced that he will be teaming up with K&L Rumley Enterprises to drive that famed number 6 car that back in 2015 with Jonathan Davenport driving had such a phenomenal season. And so that car's kind of being brought back to life after having a couple of years out of circulation. Kevin Rumley, who is the K in the K&L Rumley Enterprises there, he has been serving as the chief engineer for Jonathan Davenport with the Lance Landers team, who won the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Championship this past year. But now he's decided he wants to come off the road just a little bit. So going to be running sort of a regional pick and choose type of schedule with Marlar. I'm sure hitting a lot of the big shows, a lot of the crown jewels, and then just maybe staying a little bit closer to home with the races that they're going to run. But this ought to be a really interesting pairing when you're taking the current World of Outlaws Late Model Series champion and pairing him up with the chief engineer on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series championship car. Should be some great things. I know the expectations are going to be high when that number 6 hits the track, and I'm sure they'll probably be at Golden Isles and some of those races during Georgia, Florida Speed Week. So we'll find out right away. You know, Marlar, as he's proven, is one of the most capable drivers in dirt late model racing, and Rumley's achievements kind of speak for themselves. So I think we'll have a lot to look forward to see how that team runs, especially running that limited schedule that they're going to be taking on. Will kind of give them more opportunities to really be able to show up with guns blazing, so to speak, when they hit some of the big crown jewel races and some of the other events that they plan to go to. So that certainly one big piece of news. Another big piece of news that just came out is that Chris Madden, who went right to the wire with Marlar in the World of Outlaw Late Model Series championship this past year, will be splitting up with Barry Wright. He'd been driving the Barry Wright race cars, house car, and that had always intended to be a one-year deal, I believe. And now Chris Madden will be joining a team that will be owned by Greg Bruning out of Iowa. His son Tyler Bruning has been racing for several years, and they're going to be using capital race cars. They're going to have those powerful Clements engines under the hood of those cars, and they plan to run the full World of Outlaws Late Model Series schedule once more. Madden, over the last 2 years, has come close, losing out to Brandon Shepard a couple of years ago, and then being a part of that three-way battle. Came down to the dirt track at Charlotte this past year to possibly win the championship there. So he's come close twice. This ought to be a big move, and more than that, just for Madden, it's also a big move for Capital Race Cars because Shane Clanton has kind of been carrying that banner all alone out on the national tours, being a regular on the World Outlaws Late Model Series. So now he'll have Madden joining him, who's certainly a championship caliber driver, as he's shown over the last couple of years. And Madden's also very accomplished at working on the cars, and the feedback that he ought to be able to provide, along with the feedback that will come from Clanton, ought to really help Capital step up its game quite a bit. Not that they have to step up a lot. I mean, Clanton's won several races and he's contended for championships. He is a former World of Outlaws champion himself, so that ought to be interesting. And another factor that ought to help is that the leader of the Capital Race Cars group, Marshall Green, will be out on the road much of the time this year as well, helping Tyler Bruning and helping to run his team. So that gives Capital a lot to look forward to in 2019. And then another piece of news that came out, Tanner English, who races largely a regional schedule, Kentucky, Tennessee, that sort of area. He's going to be driving next year for a team called SWR Racing that's going to use the Longhorn chassis by Weaver with Phantom race engines. It's described as a dream opportunity for Tanner English, so that ought to be something for them to look forward to. And then we had some series news to come out. Ray Cook had he actually has a couple of pieces of news that have just come out recently. For one, the Southern Nationals bonus series that Cook has promoted over for the last couple or 3 seasons is going away, and that will be replaced by a series called the Fall Nationals. So now Cook will have the Spring Nationals, which will run in the early part of the year, of course, and then the kind of the flagship of Cook's promoting enterprise, the Southern Nationals, which runs for that 2-week stretch right there at the end of July and beginning of August. And then he'll have the Fall Nationals, which will, of course, take part in the later part of the season. So that's something exciting, and I think it will provide a lot more continuity for the drivers and teams and the fans too, for that matter, to kind of have an idea of what's going on. And it provides that Southern Nationals series with the opportunity to now have 3 separate championships that are very clearly defined within the season. So you can have guys who they may want to run all 3, or you may have some guys that can only do the spring, or can only do the fall, or can only do the Southern Nationals. So it will give them kind of a place to land and a championship to run for, as well as a lot of great races to compete in. So Ray has that. And then another piece of information that he has is that he and his Wynn Motorsports team, on the times when Ray does get to race, he doesn't get to race it that often, running the Tri-County racetrack over in Brasstown, North Carolina, and now his 3 series. But when he does get to race, he has been in Capital Race Cars for the past few years with Wynn Motorsports, but they are switching from Capital to Longhorns by Weaver. So Longhorn by Weaver getting out there as well with the Tanner English news and with the Ray Cook news. So they're becoming a bit more of a force perhaps than they had been. So Ray expects to run this weekend at 411 Motor Speedway in the leftover event that they'll be having there Saturday. So we'll see, perhaps see that Longhorn by Weaver in action, and that number 53 on the side of it. And then just keep in mind, InsideDirtRacing.com will keep you up to date on all these driver and team changes that are going on. I'm sure as we lead up to the PRI show, which is coming up in early December, there'll be a lot more announcements, some schedules released, all of those kind of things will be coming up. So just keep checking in with InsideDirtRacing.com frequently to find out what's out there. And then also we will be at the Leftover this Saturday, providing live updates as well as post-race stories from some of the events that go on there. So thanks for checking in here. Hope that I'm trying to use my YouTube channel and my Instagram channel a little bit more than I have in the past. I've kind of been strictly Twitter, and I'm trying to branch out to help draw a few more people to the site and all that. So I appreciate you checking in and hope that you will continue to do so. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and now we start the Christmas season. So I hope that goes well for everyone also. All right. Have a great evening or have a great afternoon, whatever it happens to be. But thanks for checking in.